Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And here we are with part 3 of our 570 rebuild. As you can see, she's ready to have the top end done. So the first thing we're going to do is get the piston situated. So let's work on that. Actually, before we get the piston put back in my prior video when we were doing the lower end, I forgot to mention that you need to put your jet back in. Your oil jet for the crank. So make sure that jet that we took out, put it in there and tighten it down with the Allen. So it's just a little PSA that I forgot to put in the last video, but don't forget to put your jet in the crank. All right, off to the piston we go. All right, everyone, so here's our piston, and not going to bore you too much with these. We already got the oil rings in. So basically, bottom oil ring here, your middle oil ring here, and your top oil ring here, okay? And we're gonna put our compression rings on. So second, that's gonna be this guy. I wanna put it over here, okay, in this area. So, just gonna stick it in. And slowly but surely just walk it around. Okay. And put it over here. There we go. Okay. Make sure that the wording is up. Depending on the kit that you buy or use, everyone is different, so read your instructions because the manufacturer will tell you which way is up, which way is down. And then this is our top oil ring, okay? And that's just going to be over here on this side. So, get it started in the groove. Top is up on this one. There we go. The rings are in. Easy peasy. Now what I like to do is put one of your Rzr clips in on this side, so that way, there's our wrist pin, okay? So you get, doesn't matter what side, but just get one of them in now. I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then we're going to take our wrist pin on the side that we get it right, okay? So we're going to put our first one in here. Get our wrist pin in like this, okay? Now we can, yeah, I know it's a niche, listen, they work for me. Yep, they're good for rebuilds. All right, let's get this over on the rod. All right, guys, so here we go. Here's our new cylinder. And the first thing we're gonna wanna do before we put our rings in is check their gaps. All right, so this is the top one. So you're going to do this with each ring. Each ring is going to have its own service limit. So we're going to stick it in the cylinder like that. And then what I do is I take the piston, okay, and level it out. Now, here's your gap right there. So you're going to take your feeler gauge, and I believe this one is 0.15 millimeter to 0.31 millimeter. It's got service range. So here's the 0.15. And we're good. Fits in there nice. Got some drag. That's good. All right. So you're going to do that with each of your rings. Check them. If the ring needs to be made larger, if the gap's got to be larger, you're just going to take a file and take a little material off at a time and keep checking until you're in there. If you go too big, guess what? You gotta get a new ring. So take your time, and you'll get it. So I'll put all the ring gap specs in it right here. All right, so now we're back here on the engine side, and I just want to point out to y'all, look at that, nice even RTV coming out, and you can look on the inside of the case all the way down. Perfect. That came out good. So All right, so now we're going to take our piston and the exhaust side, okay? And put it in the right way. You don't want to put it in backwards, okay? So the breather, this is the exhaust side. All right, so you want it pointing towards the breather. And like I said, put this clip in first. Slide your wrist pin in. And now, set it on your rod. And send her home. Make sure you put lubricant. You can use oil or assembly lube. Just put it on your pin. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Now comes the fun part. You got to put this circlip in to hold the wrist pin in. So what I recommend doing is filling this hole up with a bunch of shop rags and then put this circlip in. That way if the circlip pops out, it doesn't fall down and the engine falls on the rag. So I'm going to do this off camera because every time I try to video this, I end up, screwing it up. So give me a second and get this circlip in and we'll be right back. And there we have it. Took me a minute, but I got that circlip in there. So, all right, now next thing we're gonna want to do is put our base gasket on. So we're gonna put our new base gasket. Slide it on. Get it over the little dowels. You got a dowel here and a dowel over here. Okay. There's our base gasket on. And now we can put our cylinder jug on. And what we're going to want to double check is make sure all our rings, that they're in the right spots. They look good. So, got your top ring, first ring, second ring, oil ring top, oil ring middle, oil ring bottom, or vice versa. Those don't matter. Just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay? So we got those all in there. Now we're going to take our lovely cylinder head. I'm going to wipe off any of the oil that's on it from shipping. Make sure it's pretty clean. I mean, Polaris always says, oh, it's got to be it's got to be medical grade clean. Yeah, whatever. Okay, now one of the tricks I want to show everybody that I do is, see here, set the piston on top of the crank like that. That's going to hold the piston in place. Okay, then you put your jug on, and then all you got to do is just kind of walk around and go ring by ring, and it will drop down. So hang on. Oh, I think I got it. Yep, there you go. See? There's that one. Here we go. Just walk it around. Here, straighten out our base gasket. Now, here's the trick. These guides are going to be pushed out so you can't get the jug down, so you got to get your chain up. Because when the chain's falling down in, it will spread the guides too far. And all I do is bring it back up like this. We're almost there. Oh, one little bottom ring right there. So you always got to look. Pay attention. Don't force it. Because you force it, you'll snap a ring. Just want to make sure none of my rings popped. There we go. Clean up. Almost there. There we go. Woo! Live, 3 minutes later, we got it. Okay, then all I'm gonna do is just get my timing chain here all fixed back up. All right. There we go. Okay. Next part. Let's get to it. Okay, so now we can get our cylinder head on. First thing. All right, so now it's time to get the cylinder head on. So basically, we're going to take our new head gasket and fit that on, just like so. Make sure it goes around the dowels. Get that guy like that. Okay. And then we're going to take our redone cylinder head. I'll put those in. We're going to take our redone cylinder head. Okay. And I have a video on redoing the cylinder head, so basically we're going to slip it over like this. You're going to reach in here and grab your chain. There we go. Hold your chain up. And then drop your cylinder head down. Yeah, you're going to fall through, aren't you? Watch this. I'm smarter than the average bear. Haha. Okay, so we got our cylinder head on. Now, we're going to take our new bolts. We're going to coat them in some light oil. And put your 4 bolts in. Like so. Jeez, I bought 5. I don't even know why I did that. Oh well. Okay, and now we're going to torque these down. And I'm going to put the torque specs in for everybody to see, because there is a difference whether you have the black head bolts or the silver. And the black head bolts are a lot easier. It's 3 steps. I'm not going to say it because I can't bring up the numbers, but it's one number, then it's a little bit higher of a number, and then the last one's like 135 degrees. So I'm going to get these torqued down, and I'll put the specs in for both of the head bolts right here. All right, so now we've got all our head bolts torqued down. We've got our 2 side ones torqued down. So now it's going to be time to assemble the cams. The first thing you're going to do is come down here, and down here in the bottom of the engine, right there, is a hole. Okay? That is your crank hole. Let me pull this out so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Right there. Okay, see that hole? So you turn your crank until basically the keyway is pointing down, okay? And what that does, that puts the motor at top dead center. So you can use a 1/4 inch extension and stick it through the case into the crankshaft. The crankshaft actually has a hole. I'll show you on the old one. Right there. So what that's going to do is this locks the motor at top dead center for doing the top. All right? So let's start getting these put back. Okay, so now we can put our cams back in. So there's lots of ways to do this. And this is the way I do it. So we're going to take our intake cam. And this is how I do it. Basically, all you're going to do is just slip the cam in, and we're going to set it down. Now, your lobes should point directly that way, okay? So the lobes should all sit this way. So this is, I get that one in, and then I take my exhaust. The exhaust has a decompression valve on it. So we're going to find our E marks on the exhaust cam. And now we're going to slip this one in. And you generally just get your marks. Kind of just move your cam around here so your lobes on both cams point out. Okay, something like that. But this one's not pointing out. See, it's way over there. So what I gotta do is just kind of loosen it up, rotate the camera around. Okay. And then what I like to do is, all right, and hang on, I'm gonna bring you all down here so you can see everything better. Okay, so now you can see your timing marks. So there's our E's on both sides, and here's our I. And what I do is kind of stick my finger in the tensioner hole and push. I'll show y'all here. I'm going to push the tensioner over just to take the slack out of the chain, and then we're going to look. So our exhaust looks good, but our intake is off. So again, all we want to do is lift it up, and we're going to rotate one tooth over. Put it back down in. And now we're going to look again, and look at that. We look good. Pushing my finger in to hold the, take the slack out of the chain. So there you go. Our cams are set in top dead center with the crank. And then always check down here. Sorry. Make sure that your chain is in good, you know, it's not binding up or anything. But see how I can take the slack out? Just by taking my finger on and off. So, all right. All right. Next part. All right, so now what I like to do, let's get some engine lube on everything here. I also did this on the bottom before I put the cams in, so you should do it on the bottom. And like I said, I've got a video on doing the cylinder head. So we got our tappets in here. These are all, so you're down here. Okay, make sure that your cylinder head's all rebuilt. If you haven't seen that video, come check it out. Okay. And then we're going to take our cam plate. And it's got a dowel pin here and a dowel pin here. So you want to make sure that your dowel pins are lined up. You may have to wiggle it, get the cams, and there you go. Okay, now we can put our bolts in. Now, on the top of this cam plate, you probably see the numbers in the video. They're numbered in the torque sequence, okay, that you're supposed to torque these down in. Put our chain guide in place here. Put the rest of our bolts in. Okay. So, oh, gotta get my other. All right. So basically, you're going to torque these all down to torque specs, which I'll put in the video for you, in the pattern. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let me get these torqued down and we'll go to the next. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is put the tensioner in. Now, no, not this thing. The freaking junk Polaris. Get out of here. We're gonna put our tensioner in. Okay, the upgraded hot cams. And I do have a video also on changing this guy out. It's pretty self-explanatory. Put your copper washer on. Using an 1 1/16" wrench, tighten it up. Push rod in. Okay. And then put your tensioner in. Now, this tensioner has already been being used. It's in work. If you buy a new one, this rod is going to be all the way in, and it's going to have a little like tab back here. That's going to hold it in. So all you have to do is just slide it in, put your 2 bolts on, torque it down, and then once it's in there, then you can pull your tab out and that sets the tension. If you're reusing this, all you have to do to get it back is just stick a flathead screwdriver in it and twist it. See, goes right back. Oh, lost tension, but you just twist it. Let me use since I'm right-handed. And it doesn't help that my hands are all oily. Okay, once you get it in, you just got to kind of hold it all together and slide it in. Keep holding your screwdriver, put your 2 bolts in, and then you can let the screwdriver out and let her go. Okay, now with our bolts torqued in, we're just going to slowly rotate the cam. There you go. Take it out. And now we've got tension. Pull you out of the stand here. And now we're all set. So you're going to want to do is come down here and check to make sure that your chain is sitting in your teeth proper, which it is. It's riding along our guides nice. And then come up here. We're going to double check. You want to make sure there's our 2 eyes for the intake parallel with the top of this. And there's our 2 E's parallel at the top of the cylinder head here. Now there is a tool that you can buy that holds the cams back here. I don't use it. I don't need it. It works perfectly fine just like this. So, all right. All right, now for the last part of this, the top end, we're going to want to take some gray RTV. We're going to put a dab there, a dab there, and then we're going to go like that, okay? And then we're going to take our new valve cover, gasket, and set her in place. Just like that. And now we're going to take our valve cover, place that on top. Place the 3 bolts. And torque it to spec. And there you go, everyone. This part of the series is complete. Top end is all put together. So now in the next video, we're going to be going over how to put your stator and all your side covers back on. And that would conclude the rebuild of the 570. So thanks for watching. Stick around for the next video. It will be coming up shortly.